Hey, you guys, what's going on? Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, happy. What's today? Tuesday? Happy Tuesday. Yeah, I decided to go live tonight. Oh, the dead bell. It's over here. It's going off already. I've been talking to Fred. Can you hang on? And no, it's nothing setting it off. Believe me, trust me. I might have to turn it off because it's been quiet all day. And the last hour, it's been going nuts in that spot. So I'm just going to share this real quick, you guys. I don't know why it's not sharing on my Paranormal Parlour page. I have no idea. No idea. What's going on, guys? Let's see here. I'm going to put that in. Oh, yeah. I'm going to turn this off. Oh, Fred. I don't know if it's Fred or if it's something now in the room. I have no idea. We're going to turn that off real quick. Let's see. I'm going to share that. Okay. Yeah, you guys see in the title, I'm sure. 1 second. I'm going to post that. Let's see. Oh, it worked. Yay. What do you know? Okay. That's REM pod. Yeah, that's REM. That's not the only EMF I've got going is the dead bell, which I just turned off. So good evening, guys. Good evening. The volume sounds better. Good. I'm glad, guys. Yeah, I was going to ask you guys how the audio is. Audio's good. Okay. And I don't have on the screen like the chat for tonight. I'm looking at it on the EV Mux or whatever this thing is called that we have to use to go live. So if I don't see your comment, I apologize, but REM pod. Hi, Fred. I'm trying to do a show here. I got to talk about stuff, Fred. We'll talk later, okay? Just hang on. I've got some stuff on. I thought, well, I got another REM pod up there. I've got a touch puck. And I had the dead bell, but it was driving me crazy because now it's going nuts in here. But anyway, how are you guys? What's going on? Yeah, I'm doing the Paranormal Parlour tonight. This is just me. Jeff is at the gym. And yeah, I had posted something today. Ironically, it's weird how my mind works. I was laying in bed this morning and, racing thoughts and thinking. And, I started thinking about like all the stuff that I'm seeing again with a big resurgence on social media as far as the paranormal goes. Things like the word demon, poltergeist, Ouija boards are bad. I might have to turn this off too. So, and sorry guys, I got to turn the REM pod off. This is going to drive me crazy. Hang on. See, REM pod. Okay. You guys got to be quiet for a little while. I got to talk here. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so where was I? Oh yeah, Ouija boards are bad, la la la. And I always approach the field, and I always have, as what is a pseudoscience. I don't bring religion or belief systems into it as far as my personal. I don't run around going, oh, the Allfather Odin is possessing the neighbor, and things like that, or whatever, because something. People, the possession thing, with, and I'm not saying possession isn't real. I fully believe in possession, but what I believe is 99.99999% of cases isn't what other people would believe. And I'm going to get into all of that, and I'm going to explain why I approach it like this, and why I wish everyone in the field would approach it like this, because it would be a better way to study and to have what's the word I'm looking for? A better controlled environment, if you can have a controlled environment, to study the paranormal. If we were all using the same terminology and not being biased with our religions and things like that. Like a scientist, like how they approach things in scientific fields. I'm not, I know it's pseudoscience before anybody comes in, we're not a scientific field, blah, blah, blah. And if we approached it more like that, kind of how they did it back, when they had the Psychical Research Society of England, things like that, I think we get a little bit further, and we should be further. We're 2026. And as I watch our field, evidence to me is the how we get further. And you can't obtain good evidence if you're ignorant, meaning I'm not talking rude ignorant. I'm talking not knowledgeable. And, you're just watching things that you see on TikTok or whatever, and you're taking people's words for it, if you're not in the field, especially, people that watch from home or whatever. And so you can't blame society or anyone else thinking these things about it, like, oh, demons are everywhere and the poltergeists and blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to get into it, and I'm going to explain fact and, definitions of things, and get into it. And it's pretty interesting. I'm not coming at this as what everybody else does, like, my opinion. It's no, this is factually what we know, Deborah said, yes, so true. After 28 years of investigating, only one time we had a demonic case referred to the diocese. And yeah, I'm gonna get into that. That's the thing I posted today. The word demon. Not a lot of people know. I grew up in church. I was born and raised Lutheran. And I went to Sunday school, church every Sunday and Wednesday. I was in private school. I went to a Lutheran high school. I studied theology like you wouldn't believe. I've read the Bible 3 times in whole. So, and I'm not a Christian anymore. That's not my religious belief system anymore. But I'm thankful for the education that I did get in the Christian religion to be able to, as an adult later on, make my decisions. I wasn't ignorantly and being, making decisions without knowing what I was talking about or why I decided what I did and to leave that situation. I have nothing, I'm not, downing anybody's belief system. What you believe is what you believe. It's great. I believe in everything, and I'm not saying it's not real. I believe everything is real, because who are we to say something isn't real as far as religion? I don't know. I don't know what's real. I mean, this cup could be a god. I don't know. None of us do. So I'm just saying personally, but the demon thing, I'm going to start it off with that really quick. And yeah, this isn't my typical show. This typically, I'm ghost boxes, I'm doing sessions, I'm whatever, but I thought this was really important. It's something that, I haven't talked on a subject like this in a very long time on live. Back in the day, I did 2016, 2017. I would do these sometimes, but it's been a long time. I take my glasses off. You have to excuse me. I'm getting old, so I have to take the glasses off to read. But this is just information. This is just so that people can understand. Like I said, I'm not downing anybody's belief system. This is just fact. What I'm going to read to you is just factual stuff. The word demon comes from the Greek daemon, meaning a lesser deity, spirit, or guiding force. It entered the English via Latin around the 12th century, but its meaning shifted dramatically as Christian text used daemon to refer to pagan gods or unclean spirits, associating it with malevolence and the devil. While originally it was a neutral or even benevolent term, it became synonymous with evil spirits in English by the Middle Ages. So originally, demon wasn't, the hellbound, quote unquote, servants of Satan. That's not what the word even means. It was a Greek origin. It was neutral, spiritual, a supernatural being of divine power or a guiding spirit, not inherently evil. Plato's usage described the divine inspiration Socrates experienced. Root meaning, possibly from, forgive my pronunciations, Diasthai, meaning to divide or distribute. Latin and Christian influence shifts to evil. Daemon, Latin adopted the Greek term meaning spirit or guardian spirit. In the New Testament, Greek translation used daemon to describe false gods, idols, or evil spirits, adopting the sense of the unclean spirit. English adoption, evil connotation. Middle English, around circa 1200. It entered English from Latin meaning evil spirit or devil. Remember that in Greek it didn't mean that. Latin took it and made it, when Christianity came about, they turned it into mean something that had evil connotations. So in Latin meaning evil spirit or the devil. Old English, before demon, English used words like fiend or hell knight. Modern usage, sometimes daemon or daemon used in English to retain the original, more neutral Greek sense of a spiritual being. The root word for demon, and there's another thing, is the ancient Greek, originally meaning a divine being, guiding spirit, or lesser deity with connotations that were neutral or even positive, like Socrates using daemon. Through Latin and Old French, and this influenced by monotheistic religious texts, the meaning shifted significantly in Christianity to primarily denote malevolent spirits or fallen angels within their religious beliefs. So, yeah, that's my point. We use terms and we use these things that, hey, Glenn, hi, everyone. Sorry, it makes me scroll to see everybody. This is crazy. I hate this. Hi, Greg, how are you? Yeah, I have to scroll over. So the word demon that we hear constantly in the paranormal community today, it doesn't even mean what people are calling it. Sorry, I've motion detected at my doorbell. It's probably my coyote or my fox. It's not a person, trust me. But yeah, demon means it's a neutral or it's benevolent spirit. It's a positive thing. In where it comes from, the Greek word for the people who came up with the word and the definition. It was, divine being, guiding spirit, or lesser deity with connotations that were neutral or even positive. So that's my point. People running around screaming demon, they don't even know what they're saying. The word demon doesn't mean that. If you're talking about a servant of Satan from, the underworld, I'll get religious for people that believe in these things. That would be a fallen angel. If you read your Bible, if you read your, apocryphal texts, if you read the Nag Hammadi, if you read the Book of Enoch, any of it, like I said, I've read the Bible 3 times, and so I can speak on this. They're fallen angels. They're not demons, if you want to use the words correctly. So you would say this person is being possessed by a fallen angel, because that's what they are in that religious connotation and belief system. Lucifer was an angel. Satan was adopted later in the Latin text. Lucifer, the morning star, fell from heaven. God kicked him out, whatever the case may be, and his group with him, and they're all fallen angels. So there's no demons in connection with Christianity. Fact. So that's one thing. So if you think someone is possessed by a fallen angel, use the terminology fallen, and it distinguishes. It helps people in the field to go, oh, okay, I get it. You're saying that it's a somebody from in the Christian, terminology, it would be Lucifer's buddy. Okay, so you're talking hell. You're talking Christian possession. This is what I'm talking about. It's research and knowledge. 99% of this field is research and knowledge. It's not, you got to do that first, and that's, everybody knows I get aggravated. Everybody today with a cell phone is suddenly a paranormal investigator. It's like, no, you have to do the work. You can't go into a field and willy-nilly and be irresponsible with the power that you're given as a representation of a field. You got to have you got to take responsibility, because people are watching you. You might have one, you might have a million, and it's your responsibility to educate people correctly and not to do what's been done, all the damage that's been done, and false information, and without studying, learning, researching. That's the first thing I wanted to put out there. So, don't use demon doesn't mean bad. It's a benevolent spirit or lesser being. So that's what it means. Let's see. Laura said, in all my years with the paranormal, I've only encountered 2 dark energies and I can't explain it. Exactly, Laura. And that's the terminology I've always used. I will say, I don't even say dark, because the word dark, we can go even deeper into the word dark and light. Just because something's dark or in the dark doesn't make it bad. Shadows, darkness aren't bad. That was also due to Christianization. Like I said, I'm not putting down the Christian religion. This is fact. Look back, you can go back, look in history. Detected at the doorbell. Motion detected at the doorbell. It's animals. You can go back to the Council of Nicaea, when they put the Bible together and they removed books and put in books and things like that. This is fact. This is things that we know. And what I call them, and I've experienced it, I've had things physically attack me and hurt me. Yeah, of course. I've been in this field for 30 some years. I've always chalked it up. The way I see it is human spirits can do a lot of damage, a lot. Elementals can, all kinds of things. I call it conscious energy is a main bubble of anything that can consciously respond to me, or respond to what I'm saying, responds back. It understands me. I understand it. That's a conscious energy. So you can have conscious energies that are angry, very, very angry, and they can be just simple human spirit. And, as Einstein said, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. And I fully agree with that. Obviously, it's been proven scientifically. So the consciousness, when this body goes, the consciousness goes on. It cannot be destroyed. It is energy. And, you retain that personality of I think Jeff just came home, or I have a break-in. Oh, hi, honey. I thought he was good at the gym. Hi.
Yeah, I'm beat.
You're beat? He's beat. So yeah, I don't want to lose my place. You want to come say hi to everybody?
Sure.
Okay, he's coming. I know Jeff will be home this early. Getting back to what I was saying. Sorry, guys. Yes, Jeff is here. Hi, Shonda. Hi, everyone. Hi, Joseph. Hi, everybody. Yes. So I forgot where I was. Oh yeah, conscious energies. So I've been hurt physically by human spirits. That's what attacked me. That's what drew blood on me, was a human. And I've seen other people that have been affected by land spirits, elementals that, cause them distress. It's many, many things out there. When you're opening these doorways and these portals to communication with the spirit world, and even if you're not, if you're, more of I call it victim, meaning you're not encouraging it, you're not into this, you move into a house and suddenly everything goes crazy. It's, there's many things it could be. And I've also learned, if you provoke, and not even verbally, in your mind, if you come in at it with a negative approach, and in your head you're being all tough and you're being all, yeah, I'm gonna show these ghosts, show yourself, la la la, and in your head, they know this. And what do you think they're gonna do? If I was dead and I was a spirit and somebody came in my house and was provoking me, I know what I would do. I'm gonna teach you a lesson. Absolutely. So there's many, many ways, many things. There's so much. It's not just one box. It's not demons. If you're possessed, it's a demon, and it's dark and it's evil and it's this. That's religion. That's not pseudoscience. That's a religious belief. And you can't, like I said, bring that into it. Come on in, honey. Oh, he's drinking his protein drink.
Not yet.
There he is. Have a seat, honey. You could join me. Hi. Hey, Wanda. Wanda's in here. Hi, guys. Yeah, so I'm talking about demons, and the real definition of the word demon is not anything to do with the devil or Satan. It's non-Christian terminology.
Oh,
Jeff knows because he lives with me, and the poor guy has to hear this all the time.
true.
Yeah. So, that's what I'm saying. So it's like you don't know what's attacking you. It's not a demon. Trust me. As I've given you the definition of the word. Well, maybe it is, but it's normally benevolent. The word demon is benevolent. It has a positive connotation, but human spirits can get pretty nasty. The other thing is, I'm glad you're actually here for this one. The other thing is poltergeist. You don't really hear that term anymore a lot. Sometimes you do, but something irked me recently, and you guys know I see one thing and it earworms me and it brainworms me, and then it's in there forever until I get it out and I can give my piece on the situation. Within the last year, I had seen on YouTube someone investigated a location, and they had put in the title of their video, poltergeist activity, exclamation point. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So I'm like, whoa, okay. I'm going to watch this. And because it was a Chicagoland thing. And I watched this, very excited to see, okay, they must have got something. Let's see what it is. And there was barely any activity, let alone poltergeist activity. And so out of curiosity, and the way that I always have to know the truth, that's the Sherlock Holmes in me, I went to the location with Jeff. And we are now friends with the manager of this location. And at the time we had first met her, and I brought it right up. And she said, absolutely not. She was very upset about it, that this word was being used for the location. And in the video, there is nothing to even hint at poltergeist activity. And that was another thing. Well, maybe they didn't understand, they're young, they're new. Maybe they didn't understand what the word poltergeist actually means or what the activity actually means. Poltergeist, most people know, is German. It means noisy ghost. But in recent years, meaning modern times, they've discovered that, poltergeist could also be coming from us, that we're creating the phenomena as human beings. They've discovered in some cases, especially adolescents, girls in their puberty years, even grown women, adults that had traumatic experiences in life, like The Entity with Barbara Hershey in The Entity, the movie based on true events, where she was being attacked by an entity that was physically harming her in a what word can I use now without getting banned? I can't say the S word. Private areas. There we go. That in that way.
No square.
No square. There you go. No square. And they thought about it. They said, there was part of these teams that went in that were thinking that they were manifesting these poltergeist activities, that there was, someone in the home that was actually, we're made of energy too, and that they're outwardly projecting this energy and creating this phenomena. And I'm one of those people that it's a 50-50 shot. You have ghosts that can cause a lot of damage, spirits, conscious energies, whatever's there. But us humans can do a lot too, subconsciously. You know what I mean? And like the possession too with our brains. There's people that go into comas for 3 months. They come out of it and they're speaking a different language, or they have an accent that they never had before. And you see that in possession cases. People say, well, they're speaking Latin and they don't know Latin, and this person doesn't know. Well, neither did these people. This one woman went to a coma and she spoke Swedish when she woke up. She wasn't even Swedish. She didn't even know she had nothing to do with Sweden. She could speak fluent Swedish. The human mind is a very powerful thing. Our subconscious is extremely powerful. And the things that we can pick up, however we pick it up, you don't know. So we could be producing, even, I've said this about hauntings, even, not even just poltergeist activity. Sometimes we want something so badly that our energy, we create so much energy as a human being that we could be setting devices off. We could be manifesting a haunting. You know what I mean? We don't know. We don't know, we can know the answers. They do testing and things like that. And that's how they discovered people like the entity or things like that, or certain poltergeist cases that, yeah, there wasn't anything there that was spiritual. It was a person, Jeffrey said some can be the cause of their own haunting. Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And I've seen it. I've seen it where, the Enfield case, and a lot of people might get on me, no, that's real. I truly believe the Enfield poltergeist case, if it wasn't fake and hoaxed, then one of those girls was producing this herself. And it's nobody's fault. It's not like, oh, yeah, she can't help it. You know what I mean? It's something no one can control. It just happens. And it's like telekinesis. It's the same thing. There's people that can produce telekinesis with their mind, their energy. They can bend a fork. Well, if you can bend a fork with your mind, and the government proved that was real, and things like, MK Ultra and things like that, government programs that are now released, or FOIA, you know what I mean? You can look it up, CIA, FBI documents that are released to the public now. They were very into that. And so if you can bend a fork, well, I bet you can make a fork fly across the room, So we don't know. But that was another thing that was like that word poltergeist. You got to be very careful. You can't call something, well, first of all, I want to see activity that would be reminiscent of a poltergeist case, meaning which is very active. Things are being thrown around, cabinets are opening, chairs are being stacked up. It's like the movie, that's what it is. And in this video, I barely saw any evidence, let alone poltergeist activity, and it bothers me. It upsets, the owners of these establishments or people that live in these homes. And it's clickbait. Sorry, but it is. It's clickbait. And we all know what that is. And people love the clickbait. They love the views. They want to be famous. And that's, whatever. It's neither here nor there, but it's upsetting. Like I said, I'm in this field because, like I said, it's my passion. I love to research. I love to study. And it's very easy to study these days. When I started really getting into this about 14 years old, I had to go to the library and really look for books that maybe they had something that could tell me what I was experiencing or what this meant. Today, there's no excuse anymore. You pick up your phone, you want to know demon, that word, where did it come from? Look it up. Poltergeist. What does it really mean? What are the studies that have been done, like back in the 70s, especially with the Psychical Research Society of England? Let's look up these case files. Let's check this out. Let's learn something. Like I said, people don't do that anymore. And that's why it's, like a joke, And the other thing, my big one. Here it is. Jeff is looking at what I've got laying here. Yes. He's like, uh-oh, here we go.
I don't even want to put my cup on.
No. It's very special. 1967, original.
Mm-hmm.
My 1920s one I have up there. My Wednesday one you bought me is up there. But I'll use this. The 67 is the standard. Everybody knows this. Now we're going to get into a really controversial topic.
Parker Brothers.
Yeah. Controversial. And I'm going to hopefully end the stigma. Hopefully enough people could see this, spread the word. This. A lot of people right now are going to go, oh, no, I don't want, no, I'm not looking at it. No, I don't want nothing to do with the board. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to do this very simply. Can you hand me that box, please?
The what?
The box. I'm going to make this simple, and then I'm going to explain.
What box?
Where did the box go? Oh, it's over here. Never mind. There is no difference between this and this. There is no difference between this and this. There's no difference between this And this, I'm going to explain. Whether you use this or you use this, how do you start out each one of these devices? You say, is there anyone here that would like to talk to me? Or however you do it. Are there any spirits that would like to communicate with me? We're doing it with both, right?
Everything.
With everything. Just your voice. I'm sitting here with, I don't even have to have a ghost box on, Ouija board, the devices. Are there any spirits here that would like to communicate with us? Could you please come forward? I just opened the doorway. I just opened the portal of communication between me and them. I don't even need anything. I don't need even a device. These are communication tools. These are for their benefit and ours so that we can hear them. This has been around forever. This was used during the spiritualism era. The spiritualists were using this. Parker Brothers made it. And people, well, it's not a toy. You're right. It's not a toy. Neither is this. Neither is this. None of these things are toys. They should all be respected. Why did this become so evil? Why is everybody afraid of these things? Because The Exorcist, this is a proven fact. When The Exorcist came out in the 70s, suddenly this was evil because of the movie. And people say, well, I've had negative experiences. I've used all these devices and nothing happened, but I use this and bad things happen. Yeah, there's an answer to that. And I have to give credit to Peter Laws on Into the Fog on YouTube. He really, really stated it really well. He said, again, with the subconscious mind and our own energy, when we're using this, of course, a lot of people, are you pushing it? Are you pushing it? I've played it alone and it's moved. I didn't move it, or did I? That's the question. Now, let's say I didn't move it. Let's say I opened a doorway and something was coming through this board. I opened it and it was not coming through. Let me take that back. Was using this form of communication to respond to me instead of using this. If something bad happened to you because you used this, Peter Laws stated, and it's a great way to put it, your subconscious mind. Did your subconscious mind, because of what you were told from that board by a spirit, a conscious energy, a daemon, an elemental, whatever it was, and it was bad. Let's say they gave you a bad omen. Was it your subconscious mind putting it out there in your really life, like manifesting? Did you manifest because you believed so much what it told you that you created that in your environment or in yourself? Like we were just talking about poltergeist activity, possession, all these things. It's the same thing. And like I said, so if you're afraid of opening portals, or you're afraid of, you don't know what's going to come through, so you're not going to mess with it, then don't use this. Don't use this. Don't use this. Don't even say, is there anyone that would like to speak with me? Is there any spirits that would like to communicate with me? Because you're opening the door no matter what you use or if you don't use. Every time you say that, you've manifested, you've opened it. And through the box, it can tell you, people have done that too. The box said, you're going to have a nightmare tonight. And I had a nightmare. Well, of course you did, because it was so in your head, and I'm not saying that they can't. I'm just playing devil's advocate right now. I'm not saying that they can't use these devices. They can't. Negative things that can harm you absolutely can use these devices to communicate. You using your voice, which is vibration, which is energy, when you open it, you're bringing anything in. Anything can come through. And be, well, I use sage. I got news for you. Negative energies aren't afraid of no sage. I'm going to tell you right now, it's beneficial for the human. The human, it makes you feel better. It raises your vibration so that you're more protected in and of yourself. It's not going to, you're lighting this incense and waving it in the face of the conscious energy, and it's going to go, oh, like a vampire with garlic. That's not how it works. Jeffrey said, I believe it's all about intention. I agree with what you're saying. All divination tools. Absolutely. It's exactly it. It's about your intention. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes something very angry is going to come through. You move into a house, you don't know what's there, like we did. We still don't know what's lying under the surface. I can be sleeping tonight and get smacked in the face. I don't know, you know. But that's the risk you take when you're in this field, but you have to be knowledgeable. You have to understand. You can't go balls to the wall, excuse my expression. I'm gonna, or demons and possessions and and Ouija board. That's not what that's not what it's supposed to be. That is superstition. That's religious bias. That is personal faith and belief systems. That's not part of what we're supposed to be doing in a pseudoscientific field, using a controlled environment to communicate with, I don't even like to use the word the other side, but to communicate with other conscious energies that are in this field, that are in our, field of energy, that are able to cross in between, or that maybe they're always here. We don't know. But that's the thing, and if you come at it with that approach and that knowledge, you're knowledgeable, you've done the research, you've done the reading, you've studied, you've watched past real cases when paranormal investigators were the real deal back in the day, the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, when we were, like I said, we didn't have all this stuff. And we had books, research, experimentation, Ouija boards, we had automatic writing, we had boom boxes with cassette tapes to record, to do EVP sessions. That was the biggest thing we had. And we were trying to figure out how this all works and what it all is and who they all are, and like I said, everybody's got an opinion on what's what, but I'm just stating fact. Fact is, these are all communication tools. The Ouija board is not evil, and this thing is not evil. This is at all. It's what you put into it. Same with this. If I want to use this and I want to talk to Zozo, people know what that means with the Ouija board. I might get Zozo, or something is going to tell me it's Zozo to trick me or to lie to me or to play along or to whatever. I can get Zozo to talk through here. I can get Zozo to talk through digital voice recorder. It's not just this. This is a harmless piece of board. It's how you use it, and it's what you're. And if you're a sensitive person, if you're scared, if you're fearful, fear. Many things feed off of fear. Conscious energies, negative conscious energies. They feed off of it. And if you're already afraid of the Ouija board and you're going to play it, well, yeah, something might take advantage of you. Absolutely. You don't know who you're talking to. You don't. Same with these things. We never know who we're really talking to. We don't know if it's really Mary and Fred and John and whoever. They could be lying. They lie all the time. Different conscious energies. So that's my point. It's like I see it all the time. Ouija boards, or say, no. It's people, and they go, well, and I'll bring up a story so people can't go, people said, what are your thoughts on obtaining a used Ouija board? How do you cleanse it? Sherry, I don't believe in cleansing anything. I'm protected myself. I'll say, this is how I explain it to people. Anything externally for me is none of my business. It's who am I? It's not my place to remove a spirit from a place, to tell a spirit it has to leave a home, to do anything like that, to cleanse, to expel. They're there for a reason. I don't know the reason. I'm not dead, and I don't know the the rules or whatever you want to call it in that realm or in the afterlife or whatever it may be. I don't cleanse anything. I protect myself. I protect him. I protect my home. Um, our energies. The device is the device. You can do all you want to it, and I'll make it simple. And this will explain everything. Every horror movie is right. Every horror movie, when you see any haunted horror movie, from Amityville to The Conjuring to whatever movie it is, every single movie that you see, or even these paranormal shows, a true haunting, they all say, we had someone come in, whether it's a priest or a shaman or a witch, and I'm a pagan, I'm a witch, so I'm not, putting anybody down. They came in and they did a blessing or an exorcism or the sage, and everything was fine for about a week or a couple months. And then all of a sudden, all hell broke loose. Yeah, because you aggravated it. You're aggravating stuff. Leave it alone. If you protect yourself, live with it, deal with it, speak with it, communicate with it. If you're open to it, and this is what you want to do, this is part of the gig. You got to take your licks. And if you are respectful and you come at it with an open mind and respect, and you're assertive, and you say, look, I live here now. People, well, I tried that. You didn't try hard enough. I'm not trying to be mean. It's with love. I do this with love. Everything I'm saying today is with love, because I'm trying to help everyone understand and to make this field better and to protect people so that people are truly protected. Not with silly things. Like I said, I'm a pagan. So yes, I use sage. I have an altar sitting right over here. So I'm not knocking cleansing at all. What I'm saying is things like buy your Ouija boards, buy your used. It's like buying used equipment. Would you go online? You'd buy a used ghost box, right? You'd buy somebody's digital voice recorder. You'd buy somebody's REM pod, right? Well, it's the same thing. Do you cleanse the REM pod? I've never heard of any cleansing a REM pod. And if they do, great. If it makes you feel better, do it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's going to cause no harm, but don't expect it to always work. And
I'll say this from my point of view, and not having been in this that long, but even the equipment that we've had, excuse me, and that we've used over the last year, when I lived in my apartment, we got a way different experience with every piece of equipment that we have. And now that we're here, it's a way different experience with all the equipment. We're not getting what we were at my apartment on this here, but at the apartment, it was going berserk. But the dead bell would never go off at the apartment. Here, goes off all the time.
Before you came in, I had to shut off the REM pod. It was going crazy. The dead bell was going crazy. So REM pod and EMF, I had to turn it off. I couldn't talk. It was
the REM, not the EMF.
Yeah, REM and EMF, both were going. And I'm like, I got to turn this all off. I can't even do this show and talk to people.
Yeah. So my point being is, even if you cleanse it, if you go to use it, you could get a different response regardless.
Right. And it's protect yourself. And how do you use? People want to know how to do that. I will absolutely help and tell people how to do that. It's energy. Whether you want to do it through, there's many ways to protect yourself, depending on your religious beliefs. There's things like Reiki, there's prayer, there's, a million different ways. If you want to sage yourself, go ahead. If you feel that works, do it. But doing the objects, you're just gonna piss things off. Same, my home. I've walked sage through my house before. Did I expect it to protect me from the paranormal? No. Why do I sage my house? To protect me from people. I sage I Florida water wash. I do all that in my home to protect my home and everyone living in it from other people's bad juju and bad energy when they walk through my door or they communicate through the computer or a telephone. I don't want their bad juju in my sanctuary. I do it to protect me against people, humans, live humans.
Energies and spirits attached to people as well.
Yeah.
So it may not be this. It could be something that's attached to the person that was using it.
Absolutely.
So.
Right. And like I said, if you're protected, well, it doesn't matter what the Ouija board or the ghost box says or wants to do or what it's brought in that wants to communicate with. Even this, you're bringing something in. If you're using a digital voice recorder, is there anyone here that wants to talk to me? You've just opened the door to everybody. You opened it to everything. And people say, well, I always say only with spirits with good intentions and benevolent spirits. Do you think they're afraid of you? Do you think something powerful, conscious, and negative is going to listen to you because you said you don't want it there? You made the offer of communication, and they go, we're coming in.
And she even warned me before I even got involved. She goes, look, I don't know what kind of an experience you're going to have, but if you're willing to do it and you want to do it, you let me know.
Right.
That was my decision to say, okay, I've been lucky so far.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had some weird stuff that we've told you all about, but
let me explain the worst thing that ever happened to me, and I've never been public about it. Jeff has seen the photographs. There's video of it. It'll never be released to the public. My close and personal friends have seen the footage and things. When I was in Huntsville, Alabama, when I was with Deep South Paranormal with Keith Ramsey, we were at Old Lincoln Hospital. I was in the ER, going toward the ER in the hallway. My hands were full of equipment. And a lot of people don't remember the place, but it was, to me, it was the most negatively active location I've ever stepped foot in. And it's closed now. You can't even, the roof caved in. You can't even get in there. But there was glass all over the floor. And the owner, Jamie, was a good friend of mine from Chicago. We had keys to the place. We went every weekend, if you guys remember back, if you've been around that long, 2012, 2013. And I was physically attacked. I was cut up my whole back. I was bleeding everywhere. And I had, before I went in, I had protected myself. I had done everything that I usually do. I saged everybody outside. The Christians that were there, like Keith, he was a Christian. Keith prayed. That night, Keith got it. Sean Rader got it. He got his leg gouged. He had to get stitches. I'm not joking. And he's a Christian. He prayed. So they did their, protection things. I did mine. Two completely belief systems. We all did our own thing and we all got physically attacked. So that's what I mean. It don't always work either. You know what I mean? You're taking a gamble. When you're in this field, you're always taking a gamble. You never know what you're walking into. Even sitting in my own home right here. Every time I do a session, I never know who's going to come in. I cannot be 100% ever sure or protected against anything. There's no guarantee with anything.
But we believe it's Fred.
But who knows? I mean, it could be something
way off.
It could be a serial killer from down the street from 100 years ago. I don't know who it is, so I just go with Fred, and hopefully it is Fred. Hi, Sherry. Guys, like I said, I have to scroll. The third-party app we use is Emux. It doesn't scroll for me when the comments come. I have to do it myself. So it sucks. Sherry said, good point. Thank you, Sherry. Cleansing. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Look at how this thing's terrible. My first equipment was my tape recorder. Deborah, mine too. Mine was my boombox and some Memorex tapes. And a flashlight and a Ouija board. And I'm trying to think. Candles, flashlight. That's all we had. Okay, Jeffrey said, I don't know if I read this. Only thing I feel is different is most things you can do yourself. Ouija board is more than one person, then their energy is involved, and they may not have the same intention as you know. And that's where I said that's just folklore about the Ouija board. You have to use more than one person. That's not true. Spirit boards have been around a lot longer than Parker Brothers when they mass produced this for toys for kids for Christmas. Spirit boards and spirit devices, divination stones, things like that have been around for eons. And it was usually used by one person. And the person that used a device like this was usually the seer, the witch, as they called us, satyrs in Norse, things like that, brujas, whatever, were the ones that used them. Nobody else touched them.
And Jeff, if you're saying like, yeah, using a Ouija board by yourself, but if it's more than one and their energy don't match,
Yeah.
I'm seeing
and I'm getting
that from that if it's more than one.
And I agree with that. You don't know what their intention is, and they could be wanting to talk to something dark, so they're opening a doorway to something dark. Exactly, and that's why people get dark stuff.
And then it could bring you into it as well.
Absolutely. That's my point. And I was going to get back into biblically. People want me to go biblical again for them. Us seers and satyrs and vulvas and brujas, witches, shamans, whatever you want to call us, woo-woo women, wise women, maiden, mother, and crone. We've been around for a long time. Even in the Bible, they acknowledged that we're real, and they used us. In the book of Daniel, King Saul went to the witch of Endor. You can pull your Bibles out now for those of you that are Christian that don't believe what I'm saying. And he went disguised because he had banned witches. And he decided they were going to war. King Saul thought, I really want to know the outcome of this war. God's chosen guy, King Saul. He went out to the desert in a cloak, disguised, because he wanted everybody to see him. And he went to the witch of Endor, and he begged her to raise the spirit of Elijah to tell him what he should do. And she said, oh, no. I recognize you. She said, you've banned us. You said if we practice, we were put to death. I ain't doing nothing. And he said, I'm desperate. I need your help. Because he knew that she could do it. He acknowledged it. And he did it. The spirit of Elijah rose up in that religion. And he said to Saul, why are you bothering my rest? What do you want? He was aggravated with him. So even in the Christian belief, in the Bible, and Judaism, it's in the Old Testament, the witch of Endor is a seer. She's a witch. She's a satyr, she's a bruja, whatever, shaman. And they were using us even back then. They knew it was real. They knew that we could communicate with spirit. Even the Bible agrees with that. We can communicate with spirit. I can go further real quick, and Jeff's going to go, oh no, here we go. If you want to talk about ghosts in the Bible and how people say it's not, I'm a Christian, I don't believe in ghosts. I'm a Roman Catholic, I'm a Lutheran. I was raised Lutheran, We don't believe in ghosts. We don't mess with that. Well, this is going to shock you guys, but you can read it for yourselves. And a lot of people, when I tell them this, that are Christians, go, when Jesus rose on the third day from the dead, and Mary Magdalene was the first one to see him, a woman, and she was afraid. And in the Bible, it states that he said, Mary, do not be afraid. It is me. I'm not a ghost. So it tells you everything you know. That Jesus of Nazareth himself admitted there was ghosts because Mary thought he was a ghost. And he said, no, Mary, I'm not a ghost. It's really me. I'm really here. So when, people of different faiths, if biblical faiths, Abrahamic religions, if they say to you, oh, that goes against our religion, we don't do that. No, it does not go against your religion. Your religion fully supports and acknowledges witches are real. God's chosen men used witches to divine with the dead, to communicate with the dead, to do spirit communication. This is the Bible. This is my opinion. And Mary Magdalene and Jesus, it was right there in the resurrection when he said, Mary, don't be afraid. I'm not a ghost. Renee said, proud to be a witch. Absolutely. Everybody should be proud for what they believe in. Be proud of your religion. Be proud of your faith. If it gives you comfort and joy, let me rephrase that. As long as your religion and your belief gives you joy, solace, safety, protection, happiness, all the good juju and good vibes and good feelings, then it's a good thing. But if your belief system, whatever it may be, makes you feel negative, guilt, sadness, fear, that's not good. That's not good for you as a human being to live in fear. You don't need to. You shouldn't be living like that. And, you know, and that's one of the reasons, being in the paranormal field for as long as I have, because as a child, I've been experiencing these things since I was 2 years old, and it was terrifying. I didn't have the opportunity of having like the little child ghost that was my friend. I didn't get that. I had, men in my bedroom that looked like they were dead, that showed themselves to me as if they were dead, and more than one at a time. And they'd stand at the foot of my bed, and it was terrifying. Later, I found out who they were. Not their fault. Very sad. They weren't trying to scare me. As children, we're more open to that stuff. And at that time, I was a kid and I was very open to it. And they were just trying to communicate. They were trying to get help. That's all. But to a little child, it was terrifying. And at the time, the religion that I was in the Abrahamic religions, it wasn't giving me any answers as to everything. And, that's when I switched my belief system and was able to make those choices, because I was learned, because I've read my Bible 3 times, and it was my choice. Like I said, this is nothing against the Abrahamic religions. It was my choice that I didn't want to live in fear anymore. I didn't want to live with guilt or fear. So I went a different path. That's all. That was just my decision. And Renee said, truth. I love when Laura speaks the truth. I try. That's why lie. My whole point is, what are you going to gain by lying? You're going to lie to yourself.
Just don't have her read word by word of the Bible. Trust me.
Don't do it. I can do it for hours, and then people freak out, and then they, I don't know. But well, it's not freak out in a bad way. They don't know, and it's not their fault. It
makes you see things differently.
Yeah. And, getting back to the paranormal, like I said, so the paranormal, according to the Bible, ghosts does not go against the Abrahamic or Christian religion at all. To be a ghost hunter or a paranormal investigator does not go against that religion. I can battle with anybody about that. I've gone to priests, I've talked to pastors, I've talked to from all different types of Abrahamic religions and brought this up, and they agreed with me. Not one said to me, that's against our religion. I had priests and pastors tell me their paranormal experiences about ghosts that they saw, of family, of their mothers, or people that passed away from the congregations and things. So, we're from Roman Catholic to Baptist to Lutheran to Episcopalian to Jewish to Islamic. Leaders of their religions have all told me they've had experiences. So, this isn't sinful, for those of you that believe in sin. It's not. Go to your church leaders and they'll tell you. The Bible, let me get on that just real fast. I know I went on a different way, but the Bible in and of itself is one giant paranormal book. I've never read so much paranormal activity in any book in my life than the Bible. From angel corporeal beings to ghosts to witches to, fallen angels to, people turning into salt to crazy stuff. You want to talk about paranormal activity? The Abrahamic religions, you guys are all about the paranormal. That's the foundation of your religion. Jesus raises from the dead. You've got a guy who raises from the dead, and you're walking around and he's telling people, no, I'm not a ghost. Don't be afraid. That's that right there. Come on, but yeah. So guys, the 3 things tonight. The word demon doesn't mean demon. As I read it, I will, for those of you that came in late, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's a Greek origin. Daemon is where the word comes from. Eventually in Latin, it turned into demon. It means divine power, spirit, guiding spirit, or lesser god. That's the root of the word, the original word. It was used in early Greek mythology. Hey, where'd you go? Hey. It was it entered the English later. Latin in the 12th century is when it shifted dramatically as Christian texts used daemon to refer to pagan gods or unclean spirits, associating it with malevolence and the devil. So before the 12th century, the word demon, it meant lesser spirits, benevolent, with positive connotations. This is new. Demon being bad is a new thing if you look at world human history. So that's not what the word means. It's those guys that you're talking about are fallen angels, according to those religions. If you're going with that religion, it's a fallen angel. A daemon, however people want to pronounce it, demon, daemon. That's not a buddy of the devil. That's not what that is. It's not the one that possesses people and makes them their heads spin and spits pea soup and do all that kind of stuff. And I know that's not how it works. I'm just being sarcastic. But the attachments or the possession, it could be anything. Like I said, human spirits can possess people. Elementals can possess people. Any conscious energy that is strong enough or willing can possess you, period. You can get an attachment from anything, so protect yourself. Renee said, you could look at Jesus as a necromancer. Not only that he laid hands and healed people, he raised the dead. Absolutely. He raised Lazarus from the dead. That's necromancy. If you, terminology wise, that's, if you look at Jesus of Nazareth as a prophet, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. There's so much, guys. There's so much knowledge to obtain before you get into this field and you go public. You can be in the field, but study, do your homework, read. I've said this, Renee's in here. Renee has known me for all the years I've been on social media and doing this, which is a long time. I've been on social media with this since 2009. I cannot stress enough to everyone, even if you've been in as long as I have, you can never stop learning. Research, knowledge, read, learn. You have to. This house alone, we got this house. I've put in at least 100 hours of research on my home. Just our house, not including every location that we go to, other locations I've been, future locations, the paranormal in and of itself, studying, old case files, like I said, from all over the world, old experiments when they were doing the old ITC sessions back in the 70s and experimenting with sound and, using tape reels to record, or old radios, and they were the psychical research societies and things like that, and independent researchers. And I've read all of it. I've watched all of it. I've listened to all the recordings, even spiritualist. I've read all about the spiritualist movements of the Victorian age and what they were doing. Yes, a lot of that was fraud, granted, but their methods, meaning the way that they were doing seances and automatic writing and the trumpets, they were using the spirit trumpets and things like that. And, even Edison and Tesla were jumping on that bandwagon. Edison, before he died, wanted to make the spirit phone. He had, it was made. Nobody knows what happened to it. Tesla with the Tesla coil, he was hearing voices coming through it. He's like, and he wrote his scientific notes. You can read them online. Tesla wrote, "I'm hearing voices coming from the coil. I think they're aliens." He didn't know what it was. He's like, I think I can understand them. Is it aliens? Are they from another planet? I don't know what I'm hearing. So, respected scientists, we're hearing these things. So it's always been, it always will be. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Nothing is in this field. Nothing is dark and nothing is light. Everything is gray. And that's what I guess I will finish with, is that we cannot definitively say as a human being with a human mind, no matter what evidence we think they've given us, because it could be a lie, it could be deception, everything's gray. That's it. It's gray. It's not black, it's not white, it's not dark, it's not light, it's gray. And that's how you have to navigate through this field if you want to do it successfully, meaning getting good evidence, knowledge, experience. You got to go gray. You got to go with a gray mind, not a dark mind, not a light mind, a gray mind. You got to be open to everything. And if something comes to you and says, I'll go as far, I'm the devil, my answer would be, well, it's nice to meet you, Lucifer. I'm sorry about what happened in your situation, that, you and your father, Yahweh, had an argument and he cast you out. What happened? That would be my question. It wouldn't be, oh my God, I'm not talking to the devil. If you got a chance to talk to the devil, I'd want to know what happened. What really happened? What happened to you? What argument? What happened? What was the argument that got you kicked out of your heaven with Yahweh? What went down? I'd want to know. Anybody. And that's a paranormal investigator. I'm not closed off to anything. I want to know the answers to everything. I want to know everything. Why? I'm not going to shut anything down because it speaks to me in Latin and says, I'm a demon. My name is Beelzebub. I'd be like, oh, great. What realm of hell are you from? If there's a hell, what is your hell's name? What's the actual name of your hell? Because there's different hells. There's Hel, Hel, which is Norse mythology, which was before the Christian hell that was invented in the 1600s and a little bit before that. Because Hell was actually a garbage dump in Jerusalem that Jewish parents used to scare their kids with and say, if you're bad, you're going to hell. And it was a flaming garbage dump of fire outside of Jerusalem. See, he knows where I can go with this. Mm-hmm. You don't want to battle me with this. So it's like, you want to know the answers. Ask it. If you're scared something comes through and you're like, oh my God, who are you? Why? Where'd you come from? What happened? I want your story. If you want to come through, obviously they got something to say. You're a journalist, kind of. That's how I look at it too. You're a journalist. Get the story. You're in this field. You want to be in this field. You're taking that risk. Get the story. And that's what we're all after. We want the truth. We want the story. Why, what, when, where, and how, and who. Jeffrey said, this is my first time here. I'm so glad this live came on my feed. I really enjoyed this and agree with every single thing you said. Jeffrey, thank you so much. And again, people don't have to agree with me. I'm fine with that. That end stuff is my opinion. But the facts that I stated tonight, the word demon, where it comes from, what it means, the Ouija board, the word poltergeist, what I said about that, that's fact, and I stand by it. Look it up, read it for yourself. That's the definition of the word, is where I'm going with this. What the word means, the etymology, how it was, why it was made, what it means, what it represents. And that's it. And the Ouija board too. It's just a tool. That's all it is. The devil does not live in the Ouija board. You're not going to get possessed because you could. You can get possessed using this too, so I shouldn't say that. But meaning it's not the only thing that can possess you. This can, and just your partner can. Your mouth. Just saying those words before I go. Is there anyone here that would like to speak with me? Is there any spirits here that would like to speak with me? Would anyone like to communicate with me? You've already opened the door. You've already opened yourself. You've invited everything and anything in. And by you can't be specific and say, but only if you're benevolent. You're not that strong. You're a human. They're way stronger than you. Their energy is more pure. Their energy is more, it's a higher frequency. They're operating on a higher frequency than us. We're very low vibrating frequency beings. And that's it, guys. So, that's what I wanted to say. That was been on my mind for a while now. I wanted to come out and say it. I figured, I'll do it with the Paranormal Parlour. Haven't been on here in a while, and hopefully it helped some people. Even if I can help one person and they can understand and go, you know what? That just gave me the kick in the butt to to do some research and to read and to learn these things, these terms and this terminology, and go into old cases that I don't even know about. Look up the psychical, and I can guide you guys. Look up the Psychical Research Society of England, their old case files. There's a lot of old school. I can never pronounce his name correctly. Raudive, Raudive, I believe, who did the EVP sessions. He recorded them back in the 70s. There's an album on YouTube. You can look it up. I'll think of his name later. My brain's going blank. They've been doing this forever, guys. You know what I mean? Way before we all came along in the social media era of the paranormal. Look into the old school people. And I'm not talking the fanatics. I'm talking the real researchers, scientists, people like that were studying psychical research and doing it non-biasedly, non-religiously, keeping their own belief and faith out of it and doing it pseudoscience, and that's the best way to learn. So, let me see if I'm not doing this right. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Let's see. I got to scroll. Thank you guys. Thank you everybody. Yes. And like I said, and please, before I go, I only did the Parlour today if you're seeing me on Facebook somewhere, this is the only one. I came back to let everybody know, if you want to watch the Paranormal Parlour or me and Jeff, the Boo couple, our live investigations, uploads, anything to do with what we do, it's all of our video and our content is on YouTube, and it's at youtube.com/@theboo-couple, or just type in the Boo Couple. Please subscribe to us there. It's free, always is. Click on the notification bell that lets you know when we upload or we go live. So please go over there. I've got it down there. I've got it. I don't know. It's everywhere. But the Paranormal Parlour, that's all on the Boo Couple's YouTube page. After today, there will be no more lives on Facebook because they delete them in 30 days. That's why we don't do it anymore. Facebook changed their format. And if you go live on Facebook, it deletes automatically in 30 days. So there's no point in doing it. The views that you get from it, they don't count after 30 days. So it's pointless. I'm using it today as a tool just to get everybody to go over to YouTube to subscribe to see content like this. Or like I said, me and Jeff with our investigations, things like that. Thank you, Deborah, so much. Thank you, everybody tonight that's joined me tonight. And I'm glad Jeff came home early. I didn't think he was going to get home that early. But yeah, and this is my show, The Paranormal Parlour. I've had this since 2016. I had a big hiatus. It's still not fully back, but
I did a paranormal crash.
Paranormal crash. He did a paranormal crash.
This is a wedding crash.
He did a Paranormal Parlour crash, and so it was good. And yeah, guys, we'll be doing. We're going to be investigating our new home here. If you don't know about our home, we have a video up on YouTube. We did a live over the weekend. It tells you all about the history of our home, what activity we have here, and that live is up right now on YouTube. You can go and watch that. And we've got investigations from last year. We have prison from all over the place, all kinds of stuff. And this upcoming year, you're going to want to subscribe because we've got some big stuff going on. We'll be going to some really great locations, some great paracons we're going to be at with good friends, and I'll be going live. So you guys are going to want to see that and investigating with them as well. So it's good stuff, guys. This winter, it's freezing in Chicago. So we don't like to leave the house. We don't need to. So we'll be investigating here, doing shows like this, just coming on and hanging out with you guys as the Boo Couple. So yeah, please go subscribe, guys. We'd really appreciate it. And those that have subscribed, thank you so very much. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. It's a new channel. We'd really appreciate it. And yeah, that's it. And if you guys enjoy the content, thank you. If you didn't enjoy the content, I love you anyway. Good juju for you all. So, all right, guys, thank you so much. And we'll see you over on YouTube.
Good seeing you.
Talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.